Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sessions with Kat. We're back with another deck walkthrough and chit chat. How y'all doing? I hope that your week has been going well, that you are doing well, that you've been kind to yourself. I sincerely, words, Catrice, what the fuck are words? I sincerely hope that you've been doing well. Okay? You don't have to be great, but I hope you're doing well. And I hope you're holding your head up high no matter whatever it is you're going through. So, welcome back. Welcome back. Um, New deck. Do this, right? Like, new deck. So, okay, before I get into this, let me kind of give you guys like a little heads up. So, um, I have this deck and two of two other ones, so three total of the four that physically exist. And I have one on pre-order. And they're all seasons of the witch, and they're all different. I guess what I like to call holidays, based on the wheel of the year. Um, and I'm thoroughly excited. So I have this one, which we're gonna walk through today because hello, autumn equinox. That's what the Mabon is. We have this one for Yule. So I'll be going over this one in December. And Beltane. This I got just because of the cover. Like, I can relate to the cards as well, but like, I literally got this one for the cover. So these two are still in plastic. The one I did not purchase yet, because I still may do that, is Samhain. And it's because, like, from the images, from watching people walk through this deck themselves, I can't connect with the cards. However, it's a set, and the OCD part of me is like, girl, you need the whole set. The other part of me is like, girl, why would you buy that? You're never gonna use it. There's too many fucking decisions, right? So I'm like really on the fence about it. The other thing too is I don't think that one has as much diversity in it as these three and the one I pre-ordered. Okay. So I think that might be the other reason that I'm not jumping on the bandwagon for the Samhain deck. I thought for sure that there would be diversity in it, but it's not. It's just, I don't know, it's giving you more like Wednesday Addams feel, if that makes sense. And love Wednesday. However, I need to be able to connect with the deck in order to use it, if that makes sense. I don't know about y'all. Like, I can't just buy a deck all willy nilly and not have a connection with it. And if I do, I end up giving that deck away, right? If I purchase a deck that I can't connect with, I'll give it away before I let it sit on my shelves. So, just, yeah. So, I'm still on the fence about it. I'm really on the fence about it, but I'll let y'all know. Come October 31st, you know, or whatever the Friday is before Halloween, um, you might see it or you might not. Just depends. But here we are. Nevertheless, here we are. It is Friday, September 22nd, autumn equinox C, because it's today, tomorrow, depending on the calendar. Okay. Um, it also happens to be my late mother's birthday. But like, autumn equinox is my favorite holiday. Like, my this it's my Thanksgiving, if that makes sense. I like to call it a Friendsgiving because most people will view it that way versus a Thanksgiving, because your normal Thanksgiving is in November. But for me, this is my Thanksgiving, and I tend to make like a Thanksgiving meal. But since it's just me, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I'm iffy on it. Everyone, I'm real iffy on it. So we shall see. Okay. But we're gonna do our chit chat and our walkthrough today. And what is today's topic? Because I know y'all like, okay, bitch, get into it. Healing the hard parts. And I want to rephrase that. Actually, okay, while I'm rephrasing that for y'all gonna hear me like unzipping something. Because I need a sticky note for my notes that are that I have on here. Because before I fucking forget, I want to rephrase it. I want to say softening the hard parts. That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say softening the hard parts. And hopefully you guys have a notebook available. If you don't, you must be new. But you need a notebook fucking with me. Or something just to jot notes on. And even if you're going to jot them in your phone, that's fine too. But you should totally take notes. All right. So softening the hard parts. And I want you guys to understand that this is self-healing. Okay? This is not what I would do with my clients because everybody's different. I can only tell you what I'm doing with me. And if that is something you wish to kind of use, make it your own. Okay? Because your healing is probably not going to be the same as mine. 9 times out of 10, it won't be the same as mine. But if you can use this method, go for it. Okay? But we're going to have a discussion first before as we walk through this lovely deck. I took the plastic off, like everything is just kind of like in pieces right now, like the deck's right here. The insides. I love the feel of the box. And there's the book. It's in color. So for those of you who like a good book for your oracle, okay, and then there's also spreads and whatnot in here that you can use. Fallen leaves. 2-card, 3-card, apple of my eye. So you got different spreads in here, but it's in color. It's in color. Sorry, I'm just like zipping through that. Like it's in color. So it should make it a whole lot easier for you to find the card outside of looking for the number on the card. It should make it a whole lot easier. Now, my favorite color, orange. So that's part of the reason I purchased this deck is the gilding. Do you see this shit, y'all? Okay, before I get into the discussion, okay, let me just ooh ah over and like drool over these cards. Y'all see this? Like, oh my god, it's so pretty, so pretty, it's so shiny. It's not glitter. I don't need glitter. It's a nice gilding, right? Already got some little issues there, but I'm not worried about that. Mainly because one, we're dealing with a deck that came, that's highly glossed and the gilding. So your cards are going to be stuck together. You have to, the easiest way to break them apart is to kind of do this. So when you get a deck that's highly glossed or highly gilded, such as these, you'll want to, maneuver through the cards so that you can kind of break it up. But also I do plan to use these. So I'm okay if I see those little nicks and scratches. It's okay with me. It might not be okay with some other people because y'all like I spent my hard-earned money. It should be pristine. Not me. Not me. I promise you, not me. That's not me. I'm gonna destroy it anyway. Well, not really destroy it because if you know me and you've ever gotten to read me, I take good care of my cards. But cards with gilding on it, not as easy to care for them as one may think, because shuffling after a while can kind of soften the glow that's on the sides here. So just kind of keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Now, without further ado, let me get into this chit chat before y'all like off with my head. And I'm not in the mood to be beheaded today. So let's talk about it. Softening the hard parts. And those hard parts are the parts of us that we hide from ourselves, right? That we run from, that cause us panic and anxiety and cause our body to be in constant state of, you know, F, and F, fight, flight, or freeze. For those of you who didn't know what I mean. Um, how do we soften those parts? How do we bring those parts back to present? How do we navigate those hard parts in our healing journey? And again, this is personal. This is more of self-healing. This is not necessarily what I do with clients. This is going to be something that you do for yourself. How do you open yourself to the greater understanding of healing, of your healing journey? Let me say that. And your divine purpose through that healing. That was a mouthful. I don't know about y'all. But in a nutshell, your healing journey, all the shit you've been through, all the chaotic, messy, traumatic bullshit that you've encountered in your lifetime, at some point you have to heal, you know? And in that healing, we do learn a bit more about ourselves and what our purpose is in assisting others, or just in healing, period, right? We learn uh, a really big lesson through it all, right? And we open ourselves to that message. We open ourselves to that um, softness, right? Because for a lot of us, our trauma has made us hard. It's made us stubborn. It made us pissy, angry, you name it. You name it, right? It's it, it's like constantly being hit with a 2x4, right? So we become hardened because the calluses are there, right? And we don't know how to navigate that because we didn't ask for the shit to begin with, right? But how can we come to terms with it? How can we dive deeper into our own personal growth, our own personal healing? And that's one thing I love about the autumn equinox is, as the season is shifting and leaves begin changing and the bugs return to the gates of hell, um, we get to change ourselves as well. We get to go through a sort of grief cycle in a way that we are letting go of what didn't work, right? And we're planning, we're preparing for the next planting season, and we're going through research and development, right? And we're just rebranding or whatever. That's what I love about this season. The other thing I love about this season is this is where I usually do my yearly um, fool's journey for my own personal healing, for my own personal growth. However, this year, Spirit's like, you're gonna dive deeper, and I'm like, wasn't really preparing for that, right? Like, we're never prepared to dive deeper. But that's when Spirit was like, well, when you gonna get rid of these remnants? the hard parts. It's like this. It's the scabs, right? We're constantly putting band-aids over the scab so that we don't lose the scab because we think we got to hold on to it so that we can constantly remember what we went through. And we can hold that over somebody's head, or we can hold that against someone, or we can apply it to every person we meet. Is that fair? Is it fair to you? Right? Is it fair to anybody else? I would sure fucking hope not. Right? But that's essentially what's happening there. We're holding these really tough parts of ourselves, and we're becoming more stubborn, more angry, and we're just allowing it to exist. We're also feeding it, right? So, how does the fool's journey relate to this? Well, the deck that I typically use for the fool's journey, I use it because the major arcana um, walks backwards. It brings you out of the world and into the self. Whereas most tarot decks, the major arcana takes you from inward to outward, if that makes sense. So when I'm doing this healing work on myself, I'm trying to bring myself from, you know, out of the world into myself, right? I'm coming home to myself. So I use, which I can't see it from here, but I think it's the Witch's Wisdom Tarot, or Wisdom of the Witches Tarot. It's a blue box. Really lovely deck. Um, but I use that one. And normally I would just use the major cards. Now I'm giving you guys a very rough overview of what I would typically do here, and what Spirit has me kind of doing. But if you're signed up for my email listing, you'll get a bit more in depth of how to piece it all together for yourself. Okay? But you take the major. For most Fool journeys, you're only using the major cards. Okay? You're going from the Fool all the way up to the world. So you're going from inside out. That's how most journeys start and end, right? For me, it's always about coming outside in, coming back home to me, right? So that I'm not dealing with the chaos of society and of the bullshit ass world and conflict that constantly arises in the world. It's so that I have a chance to ground, to center. So it's coming from outside in. It's like spending all day outside and doing all this work, getting all this shit done, but then coming back home so you can actually regroup and think it through. However, there's going to be some added parts on there for myself because I'm going to be using the whole deck, the entire deck, which for the Fool's Journey is not typical. Okay, but I myself will be using the entire deck. And the reason being is Spirit said you need a well-rounded healing. And I agree. Okay, I'm not gonna fight them. I know who can hit me with that 2x4, and I'm good. I'm real good. I need a well-rounded healing. Okay, which is also one of the reasons I purchased this particular deck. Because this is the start of the Fool's Journey, and this gives me space to ask myself questions, to kind of leave it open-minded so I'm not so closed off and direct, because tarot can be very direct, whereas oracle kind of opens up, you know, and allows you to question more and to dive deeper. So I'm going to be using this oracle with the tarot, the full deck. I am going to be separating out the suits and everything, but I'm going to be using it all together so that I get a well-rounded healing, but also consistent healing. I hope that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. Now, if this is something you wish to try, come along the journey with me. um, Find the deck that best suits you, not potential clients, that best suits you. That when you read it, you feel called out and you want to throw it. That's when you know the deck is right for you to use in this situation. But you want to find the deck that best fits you. Okay? If you only want to do the Fool's Journey, like the basic one, you only need the major cards. Okay? From the Fool up into the World. Those are the only ones you need. Okay? For the basic journey, you're going to start at the Fool, you're going to go to the World. For a deeper journey, you're going to start with the World and you're going to work backwards. Okay? Now, if you're going to, in essence, use a similar setup that I'm getting ready to do, you really should be on the email listing because I'm going to put it all in there come October 1st. So just kind of keep that in mind if you want to dive deeper and you want more instructions or more guidance on it. Okay. For me, it's going to take the whole tarot deck, this, and learning to practice patience more so now than I did back then. And that's a word most people run from. Nobody wants to hear the word patience, right? I don't mind. I don't mind. These cards are very glossy. Just so you guys know, like, please don't have the wrong lighting with these because you'll be mad at yourself. But in my healing, softening, rephrase, softening the hard parts of myself, that requires a, a deeper reflection, right? A deeper, it's like getting a deep tissue massage. It's the best way I can explain it. Because I don't want to walk around hurting people because I'm still hurt. I don't want to walk around hurting people because I got these scabs on me that I won't let fall off. And I said what I said, okay? Because sometimes that's what we're doing. That's the reason why the hard parts won't soften. It's because we won't let the scab fall all the way off. We keep, trying to duct tape it or some shit back on. Y'all can stop doing that right away. You don't need to do that, right? You're supposed to let the hard parts fall off, right? And sometimes it takes forever for that scab to come off. And sometimes it needs just a little push. So how do you soften it, right? A lot of times it's just making sure that when you are, depending on where the scab is, and let's just use that as an example. Say I have a scab here. Well, I'm going to constantly put lotion on or massage my hands and kind of massage where the scab is so that it knows it can leave at any time, right? And you'll know when something's doing the right healing work. It's going to be itchy all the way around it. You're just going to be digging, right? That's when you know it's time to soften that wound. But a lot of times we won't do that. We'll run from it. We'll hide from it because we don't want to face it because we think we have to relive it. And I don't care if any of you feel called out. It has to be said. We hide from ourselves on the regular. As human beings, we hide from ourselves. How do you expect to heal those hard parts? How do you expect to not be bitter if you're constantly running from the parts of you that you either need to let go of, like to snatch that fucking band-aid off, or soften, right? Think about it. Like, in order to eat a potato, you have to soften it. You can't just eat that bitch raw. I mean, okay, let me rephrase. Some of y'all might. I don't know, y'all. That's y'all business. But you can't just eat it raw, right? It's too hard. It don't taste right. The texture ain't good. But once you boil it, say you're making mashed potatoes, right? You boil it and it's fork tender. It's softened. Then you can do something with that, right? You can add your seasonings. You add butter, cream, right? Your seasonings, whatever seasonings you use, I know what I use, right? But you can add all those things, right? And you can mash it, right? Because it's pliable now. That's essentially what it is to soften those hard parts of ourselves, right? Is to get it to where it's pliable, to where it's uh, mutable, right? That's where using all of the elements come into play because it can help soften all the shit that you're dealing with. And I urge you to do that, right? It's like for us fire signs, we need water, but we don't need too much because then we'll just put our fire out, right? But we need a good combination of water, air, earth, spirit, ether, and fire. You need the perfect balance of it all. And that's why Spirit told me to use the whole tarot deck. And then I'm adding this in, right? It's because I want the balance. I want to be able to see myself through this softening in a healthy way, right? I have a therapist, right? I know how to do energy work. I do my daily studies. And now I'm just going to add this to my daily study for the self, okay? So I can heal those hard parts. So I can stop hiding from myself. And I don't think necessarily that I've been hiding from myself. I've been avoiding her. Two different things. It's like, I'll pretend she ain't there. I ain't hiding. I know she there. But like, we're just not going to deal with that at this moment. I got other shit to do, right? I can't keep avoiding me. And you can't keep avoiding you because you think you're going to relive something. No, you've already been through it. Now it's time to let go. Move forward. You let go of the pain, but keep the lesson, right? That's the goal with healing those hard parts, softening those hard parts, right? And opening ourselves up to our fullest potential through our healing journey. And also learning more about what it is that we can offer the world, right? All this stuff we're learning about ourselves, as we come home to ourselves, we then can go, I can apply this to this and use that to help people. Or I feel like this is my calling, or because you'll feel that connection. You'll feel like alive when it comes to it. You'll want to put in the work for it. I'm glad there's a whiskey cart. Because if I could drink whiskey, y'all wouldn't know what to do with me. Honestly, y'all wouldn't. But whiskey has weed in it and I'm allergic to it. So unfortunately I cannot. But think about how long whiskey has to sit when it's placed in that barrel. It has to essentially sit and kind of simmer there. Not necessarily being cooked. I'm just saying like it has to kind of just be, right? So it's the right taste, the right age. And then it can be consumed. What do you think healing those parts of you are? Right? Those hard parts. It's navigating all of the grief, the trauma, and all of that in a healthy manner so that, one, you're no longer bitter, angry, or whatever adjective there that you would like to use, right? You're also finding a way to give back so people don't have to endure their space any longer because now you can teach them something. And I think that should be our goal, right? So when I say, how do we soften the hard parts? We give it space, we give it time, we bring it to a boil, right? Kind of like people who use like a mouth guard, right? It's a hard ass piece of plastic when you first get it. What are you supposed to do? You boil that bitch, right? So that it's pliable, so that you can form it to your mouth. That's the goal of healing ourselves, is so that, because no one thing can heal just everybody the same way. Everybody's different, so you have to uh, kind of shift yourself in a way that you become pliable and mutable, and you can shift in a way that the mold works instead of spilling over or causing mayhem this way and not manifesting your goals or some other bullshit, right? You want to make sure that you're doing the right thing for yourself, right? Now, I haven't actually blessed this deck yet, but okay. I said pick a card. They said 37. Okay, so that's 10. So 37 is going to be this way. There you go. Y'all, spirit got jokes. I said, well, pick a card, right? They're like 37. Y'all read this shit. It's time you step out of your comfort zone, take up space, and reach new heights. That. That is, in essence, softening the hard parts. Because y'all know, I'll say it in a heartbeat. Don't shit grow in the comfort zone except mold, germs, bacteria, you name it. All the bad stuff. It doesn't have any air, right? And in order to heal those wounds that you have to give it air, right? And then when it's time for that, when that scab forms and it's time for that scab to fall off, it needs other elements to help it move, right? The skin underneath that scab has to have formed for the scab to go, okay, I've done my part, bye. And who cares if you left with a scar? You got the lesson. You can move forward. You're living. You're enjoying life. And that's what we're here for. That is what we're here for. So, with that being said, stay hydrated, please. Remember to like, share, and comment and subscribe. Um, Head over to the podcast because a new episode came out. Shameless plug, don't care. Don't care. Um, Sign up for my newsletter. Make sure you're eating well. Make sure you're doing all the things you need to do for you. And that in turn helps if you have a family or whatnot, like that in turn helps the environment of which you are in. Eating a meal, not just drinking coffee, right? And being kind to yourself because you do deserve it. You do deserve that. And I wish you all the brightest of blessings. Bye.